So this is part two on learning how to play guitar. On day one, I went over the instrument, the dedication, which I kind of broke down into four different parts: focus, commitment, inspiration, and goals. I went over the guitar because the guitar is going to be part of your goals. Now, I also go over dedication on a daily basis, and I will because I remember that every day when I wake up and stuff on why I am trying to learn how to play guitar. Now, I've only been playing it for about 3 or 4 months, so I'm not an expert at playing guitar, but I'm walking you through the same steps that I went through. That way, if you're experiencing these same problems, maybe I can help you out through that. My first problem was and stuff, besides buying the instrument, because I already knew that I wanted to play electric guitars because of the music I used to listen to when I was younger. It was inspiring, and I wanted to figure out how to play some of that stuff. And that was an electric guitar with an amp that was used. Now, you don't necessarily need the amp. Any kind of guitar will work because what you're going to start off doing is getting used to just the finger pains, getting your skin built up. Just don't push that past the point where your fingers are bleeding, and the muscle buildup in your fingers. So when I first started and stuff, it was very slow. I may have not have even put my fingers in the right spot, sliding them down, not sure. But over that 3 month period and stuff, I've improved quite a bit on that. But I still had more questions and stuff as I was doing these things. What are chords? What are common chords? How do I actually learn how to play this song or that song? And there's a lot of information between those steps. So getting the guitar would be here, learning how to play that song is way up here, and I'm trying to use that in the camera angle and stuff. So let's say there's 50 steps between those periods. First, the guitar. Second, why do you want to have the guitar? Third, committing to it, taking the time to actually play it on a daily basis. You don't need an amp to learn how to play guitar. In fact, while you get these finger pains and stuff, you can sit there and be practicing. The finger pains come, you set it aside, or you can, and these are other things you can do while you're waiting on these finger pains to go away. You can sit there and practice your strumming ability. There's all kinds of different ways to strum on a guitar, using a pick, using your fingers, picking individual strings, getting used to both up and down strumming or up and down picking, changing strings around, because there's a lot of notes and stuff. You won't be hitting all the strings all the time. You won't even be hitting the top three. You may be hitting the lower three, and so you need to get yourself used to the top three strings or the lower three strings, or wherever it may be. But after you've gotten your guitar, something you need to make sure you're doing on a daily basis or whatnot and stuff, it may not happen this much, but tuning. Making sure your guitar is in tune on a consistent basis. Now, this guitar particularly and stuff, I don't necessarily, I do check it probably once a week, but it doesn't go out of tune that quick. Most guitars don't. I don't know about a very cheap end guitar that you may purchase for 20 bucks, but a $100 guitar, $200 guitar, you're not really going to have an issue so much with it going out of tune on a daily basis. Doesn't mean you shouldn't check it. Every time you go to play and stuff, it doesn't hurt to check it. Tuning is actually a means of these strings being stretched from this point to this point and having a certain amount of attention on them, or tension on them, to get them to ring out in certain notes, a musical alphabet, A through G. The normal tuning for most guitars and stuff, when you purchase them and stuff, if they are in tune, is E standard tuning. Now, you can get devices to help you with tuning. There's tuning machines and stuff that you can, they're not that expensive, 20 to 50 bucks, depending on brand or quality or whatnot and stuff. But you can also download them on your smartphone. There's tuning apps. There's another instrument known as a metronome. You can download on your phone as an app. I also recommend that and stuff. I think both of those are free apps you can get on your phone. But when you get your guitar and stuff, these strings should be or are already tuned to a certain note. Top string being E, bottom string being E, and in between from top to bottom, you got E, A, D, G, B, E. Using these knobs right here, you adjust that. But the idea of having your guitar in tune, for one, so it sounds better to you and it sounds right. Also, so you can start training your ear on the way these notes are supposed to sound. An E, an F, a G, an A, B, and C. Now with this particular guitar, you might hear a little bit of the strings vibrating and gets the frets just a hair bit. That goes away when you run this particular type of guitar through the amp. You don't hear that so much. But also, if you have your fingers placed in the right position, you shouldn't hear that so much. On acoustic guitars and stuff, it's going to be the same thing because of having a hollow body. You're actually echoing the sound through the body of the guitar. Now, the benefits of having an acoustic guitar over an electric guitar is you can't really make the kind of a drum type of sound or a beat type of sound. With this one right here, that's pretty much it. With a hollow body acoustic and stuff, you can actually get it to beat better. But there are some people that have figured out, and there's all kinds of patterns and things you can do and stuff, to where you can kind of slap the strings a little bit and stuff, and get a sound out of it. Now, I don't recommend hitting your guitar really hard right there and stuff, because, of course, you got electronics in the body right here. On acoustics, you don't. But that's something for later on. But yes, while you're getting this finger pain and stuff, if you ever, when you get it and when you're starting out, there's no way to really avoid that. You're going to get it because you're pushing soft skin up against a short or small surface. And so that soft skin is allowing that pressure to go straight to a nerve there. But when you start getting it and stuff, let your fingers heal up from it, the skin will actually toughen up. And after so many days or so long, once it's healed up really good, the skin will be strong enough to sit there and hold against doing this. Even down to the smaller strings, to where you won't feel that pain anymore. You'll feel the pressure of the strings still, but you won't feel the pain anymore because your skin's toughened up. I do not recommend you let your fingertips bleed though when you play. If you gotten to the point of where your fingertips are bleeding, you're probably going to have to wait a couple weeks, if not longer than that and stuff, for just the bleeding to go away and your fingertips and skin to heal all up to where you can actually get back to pressing this without having blood or whatever else and stuff on the guitar. You don't want that. So avoid any bleeding on your fingers. If you start feeling the pain, there's other things you can do. Like I said, get the metronome out or just practice strumming. Listen to a song and stuff and try to keep the beat with the song. It's very simple to do. Now, you may not be able to go that fast. You may be a little bit slower at it. I know when I first started and stuff, the type of pick that I was using would want to flip out of my hands or slip out of my hands. So I'd have to be playing like this, and going really slow at it, or you can even get used to the sound of these strings. Or just place your finger over a string to mute it, and see if your one finger and your strumming hand are actually on the same string. I know I had problems with, nope, that's not the right string. This one is. Nope, they're going to the, nope, that's not the right string. This one is. So simply just put enough pressure on it to get the string to stop vibrating when you strum it. That's another good practice and stuff. It gets your hands used to synchronizing on which strings they're supposed to be working together on. Now this is something else and stuff I want to kind of mention when it comes to tuning. This is your basic guitar right here, obviously. Strings are brought in right here and stuff, and they're hooked into a spot down here at this end, and they run through a loop down here at this end, like I said, allowing the twisted on these knobs here and stuff to where the strings have tension on them or they're tight and stuff, making use my tuning forks. And I just adjust the tuning forks and stuff or tuning rods to change the strings and the sounds that they make. I mention that because this guitar is not set up the same way. I don't recommend this as a first guitar, maybe a second guitar. Jackson, you can buy a Jackson and still not have the same setup on it. Okay, the setup on this, which includes this extra piece right here, and a different setup right here, is called a Floyd Jackson setup. I'm not 100% familiar with the system yet. I'm still learning. In fact, when I brought this guitar home, I was so unfamiliar with it. I was sitting there trying to check the tuning and trying to adjust the tuning just finally. And using this string right here to adjust the high E string, I end up snapping off a string between here. Not realizing that this right here locks these strings in and stuff to where these do nothing past this point right here. So I'm not changing the tension using this right here unless I unlock the system right here. So like I said, this is a more complex system. Buying a Jackson guitar is fine. It's a quite common guitar. But if you go with this type of guitar, I recommend waiting on getting the Floyd Rose setup on it as a first guitar. Wait until maybe your second guitar to get that. Get something more like this other guitar I have. This one right here. Whether it's acoustic style or whatever it is and stuff, but get something more like this. It's more common. It doesn't have that locking system on it. This is a very common system right here to have on there, so it doesn't matter if it's acoustic bass or whatever it is. Other problems I had, so when I was doing these exercising and learning about just strumming and stuff, hitting the right notes, right strings, sort of stuff, I was asking myself and trying to figure out answers to these questions. So what are chords and where are the common chords at? There's no correct answer to this. In fact, with what we have nowadays, we have the internet, we have YouTube, we have all kinds of resources at our disposal. Use them. Research this information you're wanting to try to find out chords. There's all kinds of information out there for it. When I was much younger, 30 years ago, and I got my first guitar and whatnot, that information wasn't out there. So if I wanted to learn how to play, the questions weren't answered very easily. I didn't even know where to go to get a guitar. I know that in my town and stuff, there's a few different guitar stores. There's Music Center, Guitar Center. There's also Guitar Works. I've been to both those stores. There's some other smaller places and stuff. About 2 hours away, there's Sweetwater, which is a guitar facility. Very nice facility, by the way. They do online purchasing to where you can purchase their guitars online. I don't know how well that system works. I've never done it. I've always walked into a store, asked about the gear, and bought it that way. Even tried it out myself before I took it home. Asked them to tune it, make sure everything works on it before I walk out of the store with it. So, but yes, I had a lot of questions. What are the common chords? I could show you one chord right here. This is the G chord. It is one common chord. It's used in a lot of songs. But there are literally probably 2 dozen common chords. But every song, not every song uses this G chord. Not every common song even uses it. A good example of that, if I'm remembering correctly, because I'm still learning how to play and I'm still learning songs, I don't even think Pretty Woman uses a G chord. It may. I'd have to look into my notes to find out. It very possibly does. But one of the chords it does use is the A chord, and then an F chord, which is a bar right here. I think it's an F sharp minor. I'm not sure. I have to look it up. I'm still learning this stuff myself. I've only been doing this for 3 to 5 months. So that right there. That right there. Now, did somebody show me these things? No. I was not shown how to do some of these things. Some of them I was shown. Others I was not. I actually got a lot of help from when I was in middle school. Luckily, the information in middle school and stuff stayed with me, so I kind of remembered how to play what's called tablature. So that's musical information right there. It's notes and tablature. This first line right here is the notes. The second line right here is the tablature. It has numbers on it. It's set up the same way as guitar. It has 6 strings on it. And I remembered how to play it. By the way, this is a Guns N' Roses book. You can pick those up at stores as well. And that's one way of learning tablature. If you know how to read tablature, if you don't, again, you got resources at your fingertips, the internet, YouTube, whatnot, to try to figure out and understand tablature. One source that I do use that I love, and I'm like I said, this wasn't out 30 years ago, so this was not available when I first picked up my first guitar and tried learning and then setting it down and never went back to it again. But there are online courses, even for guitar lessons. Now, me, myself, I spend $5 a month, and there's all kinds of videos in it. But I use what's called Justin Guitars. The first name being Justin, and then guitar, and no space in between, so justinguitar.com. Has a lot of information. There is even some free courses on there you can take. But it goes up to a certain point, and after that point, on the free lessons and stuff, that's when you have to actually start paying for a subscription in order to continue through those lessons. But there's comments, there's notes. I do suggest when you're learning how to play, I do this when I'm learning how to play and when I'm making these videos, make notes. Notes will get you so much farther, because then you'll be able to remember what you're doing, what you're looking at, and all that stuff. In fact, there's a section in there where he talks about different kinds of chords. I've written those down right there, just so I can memorize them, familiarize myself with them. There's another section on triads. Give me just a second. Triads right there, triad chords. I've been working on those myself. I didn't even know there was a such thing as a triad chord when I first started playing. I thought it was power chords, notes, whatnot. Which brings me to the next thing, learning the notes on the guitar. That is going to be so very important. So, when the internet wasn't available, and a lot of people say this is still probably the best method for learning how to play songs. If you want to learn how to play a song like Crazy Train from Ozzy, or Johnny B. Good from Chuck Berry, or let's see, any of Joan Jett's songs, Pink Floyd songs, back in the day you literally had to buy the the cassette or the CD and find a way to slow the song down so you can hear each individual note. So when they are strumming a G in the song, they strum it so fast you may not even be able to make it out. So you had to find a way to slow it down so you can hear being played throughout the song. And then what you had to do after that, since they didn't tell you what they were doing, you had to go through the guitar and find those sounds. So you hear that first one. Okay, so then you're looking for, no. There it is right there. You'd have to find it yourself. So you'd have to listen to the song, and this was what's called ear training. Train your ears to know the notes and be able to place them on your guitar as you're listening to a song. This is very good because if you start playing on in a band, it makes it very helpful to be able to play along with the band, because you're going to hear the notes of the drummer, you're going to hear the notes of the singer, and you're going to hear the notes of the bass player, and you're going to already be familiar at this point, if you're learning this way by ear, what that sounds like. Playing a guitar and singing and stuff, your guitar, since you can change your guitar so much, should kind of mimic the notes coming out of your voice when you're singing. It's what's called harmony. If you can harmonize your guitar with your singing, it makes the song sound so much better. Not all people do this. Some of them and stuff just are sitting there strumming a rhythm and stuff to have a background noise and then singing over the top of it. Now, it took me, I would say, at least a month, probably 2 months, just to learn that little bit and go at that speed with those chords. 2 months at least. But that was spending 2 to 8 hours a day practicing that over and over and over, just like practicing this. And I still make mistakes. Keep practicing and I'll get better. Let me go back to my notes here, because like I said, I got notes here for the video. So besides finding the tablature in these books, there's also a website you can go to. I use what's called Ultimate Guitar to find the tablature. Now, if you're using any kind of tablature or somebody else is showing you on a YouTube video how to play a specific song, don't take that as how they're doing in the actual song. And I say that because when they are learning these songs, they are doing exactly what I was just talking about. They're simply listening to the notes and trying to find them on their guitar. So it doesn't mean that they got them all right. It also doesn't mean that they got the play style right. So if they went from this to what's called a D chord down here, who's to say they didn't come down here in the middle of 3 strings and play that D chord and then do some little solo and then go back up here to chord up here? I don't know. What I would say is your end result of how you want to learn how to play a song, once you have most of it down, start using the song that you are enjoying to play or trying to play as your end result. So play along with the song. So grab yourself some headsets, cover up one ear with it, or earbuds. It doesn't matter how you do it and stuff. Have the song in one ear, listen to your guitar in the other ear, and try to get them to match when you're trying to play. Like I said, I had these questions myself. If you have more questions and stuff, I plan on making more videos. You can leave comments. Either I can answer the questions or try to answer the questions. Somebody else can, or maybe the question will get answered in the previous video or in the next video. I know Marty Music does a lot of videos, YouTube videos and stuff. And he's got, his channel is full of information on playing guitar. Whether you're a beginner, exercises, whatnot. You can always go there and check that out. So when you start getting these finger pains, use the internet, do some research, find out what you want to find out, study some things, research some things, and then go back to playing. Another key thing and stuff I found is, so when you first start playing and stuff, you may only play for 15 minutes to a half hour a day because of the finger pain, which is fine. If you're sitting there watching a movie or doing some research and stuff, it doesn't take much to pause the video or pause the movie or wait for a commercial. A commercial comes on, you pick up your guitar, and you're just constantly doing this back and forth, or now you don't have to do it necessarily that fast. In fact, you're probably not going to be able to, but doing this during a commercial and stuff will tremendously get you progressively. And one day you're going to pick it up and stuff. Oh, this is getting a lot easier now. Okay, I understand, yeah. That's what those exercises and practices were all about. I'm not going, nope. By the way, when you're fretting something and stuff, you should try to keep your finger up as close to that fret as possible. When you fret it, see, I'm too much on top of it. You kind of just want to be right behind it. But if you change your spot, your finger spotting in it, you'll notice it changes. So getting that right sound is key. So I figured out where pretty much my fingers should be and stuff to play the notes just right. It takes practice too, because your finger's going to want to go all over the place. It's not used to this. So yeah. Take road trips. Take your guitar with you if you can. Sit there and do some strumming patterns. Listen to something on your phone, whatnot. I mean, there's all kinds of opportunities where you can spend 15 minutes to a half hour sitting there strumming at your guitar, practicing with your fingertips throughout your entire day. I'm not making any suggestions on this. This is just ideas, trying to answer some questions and help out. Until my next video, like I said, leave questions, comments. I'll try to get to whatever answers I can for you. So, thank you.